Welcome everybody from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you here today. Once again, we're looking at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. Over the last few videos, we've been introducing you to requirements, modeling and management within Enterprise Architect. And today we're going to continue that and look at some of the different ways that we can view our requirements. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm joined by Stephen Maguire. Welcome, Stephen. What can you tell us about viewing requirements in Enterprise Architect and some of the different ways that we can look at our requirements?
Thank you for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, this is quite a big topic, and we might look at some of those ways in this video, and then we'll have a follow-up video with some more ways. There are literally a myriad of ways that you can view these, so we don't want to overwhelm our audience, but we'll look at some of the main ways that we can view requirements. As always, Scott, I go up to the top right-hand corner of the application. The TOGAF perspective has been set. I've been doing some work earlier today with TOGAF. I can simply drop down the list of perspective sets and choose requirements there. I'm not going to talk about this page. We've done that in a number of other videos. I'm going to close that because we're going to do things from first principles. So, Scott, in a previous video, we created a lot of requirements for our payment subsystem. So in the project browser, I'm going to select that element there, and you can see here we've got requirements and a workshop there. So let's have a quick look at that workshop diagram. Remember, this was a diagram we did in a mind map, and we then related the elements to the requirements, in which we did over in other parts of the model. So I could, look at some of these elements and view them as part of the requirement space as well. So let's have a look here. Requirements in the stakeholder payment workshop. There we have some of the requirements. So this is one of the ways that you can view the requirements, is that the requirements may be in a myriad of diagrams, Scott. So you can see them, they're in this diagram here, these two elements, and they're linked to two of the mind mapping elements. And we could also, see them in other diagrams as well. So for instance, if we look at our requirements model in this part of the tool, we can have a look at requirements and use cases. And so here you can see the requirements are related to use cases, which in turn are related to all sorts of other elements. We're just going to close that for the time, but just remember that you're going to view those requirements in diagrams in many different places. The elements themselves, the requirements themselves, can only exist in one place in the project browser. So if I wanted to find this particular element, municipal revenue reporting, I can right mouse click on that and say find in project browser, and that is the location that element is in there. So that's a useful thing to remember. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this functional requirements diagram that we did. I'll close the mind map diagram for a minute. We did a functional requirements, and this showed the nesting. In the project browser, we can see that the elements are nested there, and we can see that they go down to 3 levels of nesting, and this is mirrored in the requirements diagram. You can see the outer requirement, another one down to the second layer, and then into the third layer there. So one of the things that I like to talk about, Scott, is the power of the right mouse click. So if I was to right mouse click here, I can go here and say switch view. So what I'm going to do is switch that to a specification view first. So we'll look at the specification view, and you can see now these elements have popped up on in this display in the canvas. There's a little arrow here indicating that the elements have other elements contained in them, and you can see again we are mirroring that same structure here. And this might be a preferred view for people. I have lots of organizations I work with, and this is where they prefer to do their requirements, in the specification view. So I can simply work inside this view. I can change text in here, add text if I wanted to. So if I could put some new text there, and that would save that as well. So A very useful view. The thing about this is as well that you can see that it's got a number of different properties here, the status, the difficulty, the priority and things. And, I can also choose other properties as well. I might want to put in the phase in there, and I can simply drop the phase into that display as well. Let's put it after status there. And you can see that they're all things going to be done in phase 1. If I don't want that in there, and there, you can see there are a huge range of properties, including author there, complexity, language, all sorts of things. I can simply just drag that back out again and put it away. So quite a useful thing to do. I might want to say, look, let's close that. So that's the.
Can you search these requirements on screen?
Yeah, you certainly can, Scott. There's lots of opportunities to do that. So if we looked in here, we've got add tag values, toggle the filter bar there, and now I've got the filter there, and I can say, look, I just want to look at something. Let's have a look at something that might be one of the payment kiosks. I might want to look at kiosk there. I don't know why that didn't find that one. Let me have a look. Digital wallet. It's next to for something with status of validated, for example.
Yeah.
Validated. Yeah. And so we're able to search for those things there. So let's get out of this view for the moment and go back to switch view, back to our graphical view. And let's go in here now and say switch view. And we're going to look at a similar view, but slightly different, which is the list view. So now the elements have all come up in a list. You can see that that's flattened that hierarchy here that we've got, and we can the interesting thing about this view, Scott, is that we can do a similar thing. We can add some more columns here, some more properties. So the field chooser, right mouse click there on the field chooser, and let's bring in difficulty. So complexity and difficulty are slightly different things. Something might be complex but not be difficult. So we've got a number of different things. Priority, let's bring that one in as well. And we'll put that in before complexity, because that's going to be an important one. So I'll close that field there. I can now group these in a way, Scott. Like it says, drag a column header here to group by that column. So let's have a look at the status of them, and let's have a look at priority first. And we'll drag that up, and that now has grouped by
all the medium, all the high and critical are all listed together. Yep.
Yeah. And if I don't want that, I can simply drop that back again, put it anywhere that I want, and let's choose complexity. And now it's medium, easy, and difficult complexity. But that's a quick
way of sorting your requirements into.
Yeah.
Like if you were starting the day and you wanted to have a look at all difficult requirements, you could do so.
Yep. Exactly.
In a couple of seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a look at something else. Let's have a look and say, look, we are interested in this complexity, but let's have a look at the priority. So, or actually, let's do it the other way around. Let's put our priority up first, and then so these are the high priority ones. We've got medium, high there, and let's we can alter that there, and let's put complexity as well, and put that underneath that one as well. Now you can see there's an outer group, a medium priority, which is medium, high, and here we've got priority critical. But inside each one of these, we've got a complexity factor. So the priority medium. Let's have a look at the priority high ones, and we can knock this easy one off here, core payment processing. We can knock that off quite easily, because that's a high priority but a easy complexity. So lots of opportunity there again with that, Scott, and I can sort things and do all sorts of other ways of working with this. I can look at this again, switch view there. So again, click on here, add new elements, sort contents, all sorts of other things, add tag value columns, column layouts, low column layouts, save column layouts, all sorts of different aspects there. Let's switch our view back again now to our graphical view, and let's go into another view. So we've looked at the specification view, we've looked at the list view. Let's look at the Gantt view, Scott. So the Gantt view gives us a Gantt chart, and let's have a look at this. We've got again, these things are nested. So we've got all these different things here. Let's look at this first one here. We've got Jenny Kitabashi working on that, and you can see here, let's have a look at this one. You can see here the percentage that is being complete on a particular item there. So let's move across a little bit so we can see that in its detail. So the Gantt chart is showing where the work is beginning. And so this is going to start on the 21st of March and should be completed by that date. And you can see now, if I look at the percentage here, the percentage complete 30, 36 and 70. So, you know, Casper's done a fair bit of work. Jenny needs to, you know, to start getting some of these things finished. If I want to look at this in more detail, I can simply click on one of these. I'll click on this one here, and it brings up this display here where it says determine the quality of attributes using the requirements checklist. And, you know, she's finished 36% of it. Let's say that Jenny's done some more work. So Jenny's been doing a lot more work. I'll say okay to that. And, you know, this Gantt chart.
Yeah, it's been updated. Now it's 54% complete. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, I can go into this, the construct ribbon and the resource management panel and the resources window there. And you can see that now is showing that in, you know, some detail there. I'll choose this one here, and you can see that those resources are being applied. I can simply add a new resource to that from this view here, choose a resource. Let's say, you know, Paolo Jenkins is doing it. Let's say Paolo's a Java programmer, and, you know, we can just, again, put some dates in here where this needs to be finished and save and close that. And, you know, now we've got
an extra resource to work on that requirement. Yeah,
working on that as well. So you've got that resources view, you've got the Gantt chart view. Let's close that for the moment and go back and have a look at our switch view again, back to our graphical view. We can go straight to the other views, but I want to return to this one as sort of a you know, return point. Let's have a look at some of these other views here. The construct view. Let's have a look at that one. So here we can see the construction list here. We've got all these elements that are being worked on. The payment gateway integration appears 3 times there. It's obviously a hot requirement there, and it's being worked on by 3 different people. Jenny's the requirements analyst. There's a business analyst, Casper, and Paolo is the Java programmer that started work on that. You can see that Paolo hasn't had anything complete yet, probably waiting for the other work to be started. So that's the construction view. Back to our graphical view, and let's have a look at these other views here. So we looked at most of them. The relationship matrix view, I'm going to move to a different model, Scott, because this one is not going to show us relationships between requirements, because even though they're nested, that's not really formally a type of relationship. It's more a nesting thing. So I'm going to move to another diagram, and the one I'm going to look at is one we looked at slightly earlier, which was the requirements and use cases traceability diagram. So I'll leave that one open this one up as well, and we can see now that some requirements are appearing here in relation to use cases, which in turn are connected to components, which in turn are connected to all sorts of other information elements down to a physical data model. So, you know, just a precursor for that. You know, Enterprise Architect is about connecting elements and showing how they're related. And you can see here this, you know, this incredible journey or narrative that's being described right from the requirement through the use case, through the component model, right down to the physical, or the logical first and then the physical data model there. Let's do the same thing. Right mouse click in here, and, you know, we can do any of these other things again. We can put this in the specification manager again, and you can see, you know, that all pops up there. Let's return our view though to switch view, the graphical view. And the one that we missed out last time was this relation matrix view. So let's do that. And here's our matrix. So, you know, it's got a number of different elements.
There's lots of things there. Can you limit it to like just use cases and requirements?
You can indeed, Scott. So this is what it's done like a cross product of all of the elements on the diagram, because they might all be connected together. You might have, you know, an element that's connected to itself for various reasons, like a component's made up of other components. Let's do what you said. Let's limit this to the use cases here, or the requirements on this side, and let's limit this other one, the targets, to the use cases. And now let's look at the this direction here. actually, I might change this around. I might just change this to use cases first and then requirements later. That'll save us doing a bit of work there. So we've got those relationships there, and I can limit that to the existing ones, which has done that. So you can see now that there's a relationship between these elements. So if I right mouse click in here, I could say create new relationship. And if we actually had a look at our diagram, back at our diagram view, we could look at that and say, look, what do we want connected? Well, we might say, look, this payment requirement here, which is, let me have a look at that. We can see these in the property window here, payment processing and pay for parking, check remaining time. We might put a relationship in there. So I can simply click in there, say switch, create new relationship, and say that it's a realization relationship. Now that's gone in there between the check remaining time and the payment parking. Let's switch our view back again now, back into the graphical view, and you can see a new relationship has gone in there from that element. So that was just a visualization of how to do that. I'm going to delete that relationship now. It wasn't the one that I wanted, but that's a very simple thing to do. It's got one other thing.
You could easily identify gaps if there was rows that were completely empty, and you needed to make sure the use case was realized. You could do so.
Well, interesting you should mention that, Scott. You can see the gaps, but another way you can see those gaps very, very easily. Let's go to the resources tab of the project browser, and here you can see matrix profiles. This is not running off that diagram, but it's running off the packages themselves. So this one was limited to the diagrams, but this one is to do with the packages. You can see here it's got in a kind of more profound way that the let me have a look at that. That's fine. The ones with the blue band, so that the requirements are here listed vertically as the source, and the use cases are listed as columns, and their names are orientated vertically there. And you can see here again the same sort of style. The green arrow represents the fact that there's a relationship between the use case, saying it realizes that display panel there. So I can look at that, and those ones are all have all got relationships. Where are the gaps that you talked about? Well, the pink color shows us a use case that's not got any. It's not really realizing any requirement at all. So why was this use case created? So project manager would be asking, hey, do we really need this use case? Are we spending time on it? And someone might be doing the development work. So that's a useful thing. The other thing is, and possibly more importantly, is that we've got requirements here with the blue bands that don't have any realization yet. Now that's just could be just part of the project. We haven't got to that stage yet, but it could bring up warnings. And like you said, let people be aware of the fact that there's possibly some gaps. Now, Scott, if I go in here and look at this matrix here and have a look at this, go into the options there, and you can see here that I highlight source elements without relationships, highlight target elements without relationships. So it's not just about use cases and requirements, it could be about anything, and having those two things checked. So if you're not seeing the colors in your matrices, then you can use those elements to make sure they're checked. Just going to cancel that, Scott. And remember, we just looked at the diagram there, but remember all these things are available from the project browser as well. Many of them are. So the specification manager, for instance, we go to the design one there, click on specification manager, and they all pop up there. Now, these are not the ones that are on the diagram. This is the list that's coming from the project browser. So it's two sort of different views there. Again, I can put the notes format into notes in columns. They're there. One last thing I want to show, Scott, is this quite useful inline specification view, which is this little chevron here. It kind of looks the same as the one that hides the toolbox there, but it's on the other side, and it brings up an inline specification view. So these are all the elements that are on the diagram, nested again, and their name and their notes. And so if we had an element on the diagram that didn't have any notes in it, for example, it would be very obvious that there were no notes. For this one here, for example, this pricing management doesn't have any notes. It should have notes for its particular level. And so we can say, hey, we need to go back and fix that. The same with the payment methods. They were put in as as part of the hierarchy, and they didn't get their nuts. So very, very powerful, Scott. There. This is what we've looked at today, is just viewing the requirements essentially through the requirements diagram. But we're going to have a look in a future video coming up next, I think, in the video series about viewing requirements in all sorts of other ways as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that. And I think not only have we viewed requirements, but we've seen some of the project management tools that help us better manage those requirements as well. So that's
Indeed.
Fantastic.
Indeed.
So to our audience, thank you for joining us today. We always love it when you can join us and watch our videos. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel, where you can find hundreds of videos on similar topics around Enterprise Architect and other Sparx Systems tools. If you have any questions about requirements, modeling, and management, and you might like some help, you can reach out to Stephen via the LinkedIn credentials and website credentials that are listed in the video description below. Once again, thank you, Stephen, for all your help showing us how powerful Enterprise Architect is with regards to requirements, modeling and management, and the various different techniques that we can use to view information and quickly identify gaps and resources and other facilities, all within a single tool, which is amazing.
Always a pleasure to be here, Scott.